So the role of Circles of Peace is really about the fact that we don't have to be alone when we've been hurt. I think there's a lot of shame that can come from that, and Circles of Peace says no, that's not the truth. The truth is we're not alone and we have each other. I grew up in a violent home. We didn't know how to deal with it, so there was a lot of silence about it. Silence just left things worse. So I carried that into my adulthood. Became a chaplain in a maximum security prison. And every once in a while, the prison would get a phone call from a victim wanting to meet with the person that had harmed them. And they wanted to ask all those sorts of questions that the legal system never gave them an opportunity to ask. It sort of struck me that we had given victims the best that our society had given them. We had found a person guilty and we had punished them, sending them away for decades, and yet still it wasn't addressing what folks who had been hurt, what they really needed. But inflicting suffering is not the same thing as them accepting responsibility for what they've done. If I get arrested, if I have a lawyer, they're going to say to me, remain silent, don't accept responsibility, don't express remorse. And somehow we think that's accountability, and those women who were calling me knew that that was a lie. It just isn't working. We're making it worse. Our program is a pre-charge program, so it pulls people out before they get a criminal record. But if restorative justice can keep them from having that record, that addresses systemic racism.
Restorative justice centers the person who experienced the harm. One of the main things that we do is to address what led to the harm and to work to prevent the harm from ever happening again. It involves the person who experienced the harm, and it involves the person who's responsible for the harm, and it may also involve support people. In each of the circles, there can be a victim advocate that's really to help with the emotional safety.
The cycle of violence isn't being addressed like it should be. Punitive action isn't working. It's never been a way that we've healed from trauma. Seeing restorative justice being offered is huge because it provides a way for us to heal as a community. I'm the first victim advocate here on the river that's Native specific. So when there's an incident of domestic violence or sexual assault, my job is to provide emergency support services.
When somebody does something to hurt you, it takes away your power over yourself. And that feeling is sometimes some of the most damaging pieces of the trauma. Survivors need to be believed, they need safety, and they need greater options and choices in order to regain power over their life.
Being able to have those kind of resources available, you would see kids growing up with healthy parents, and that really helps them see what their lives can be like.
If a resource like this had been in place for my own family, I think the harm would have stopped. I think there's a real courage that's demonstrated in Circles. It reminds me that I can be courageous too.